What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the TB Toycast YouTube channel. And today we are unboxing from McFarlane Toys and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Page Punchers line. It is, of course, the one and only. It is Shredder, perhaps one of the greatest villains of all time. And we got him here from McFarlane in this new Ninja Turtles line. I'm absolutely loving this line. Initially, when I saw it, I had zero interest. I mean, I'm talking zero interest. I kind of wrote it off. Oh, okay, whatever. The more I saw him, the more I was like, those kind of look cool. We've got Bebop coming in Wave 2. Super excited about that. I'd have to imagine Rocksteady's going to show up in Wave 3. At least I can hope. Guys like Casey Jones, April O'Neil. I think that'd be awesome. But I unboxed Leonardo, a month ago maybe? And when I unboxed it, I fell even more in love with the line. I'm like, this is the line I've been waiting for. And a lot of people, a lot of licenses, or a lot of companies rather, have dove into the Turtles. So getting something from McFarlane is like, okay, this is great. I was searching high and low at Target for these to finally show up, and they finally did, and I was just absolutely thrilled with that. And then, of course, now they're showing up at Walmart. I've even had a couple of people tell me they've seen them clearance, which is crazy to me because they're brand new, but, that's what Walmart does sometimes. Of course, this is, Ninja Turtles Page Punchers. We got McFarlane Toys up top. 8 and up on this one. That's interesting. Of course, we got Shredder. We got multiple hands here with the different claws and stuff. A couple of swords and a human head. That's kind of fun. All packed with a comic book, a legitimate comic book. Not a mini comic, a full-size comic. I think that's really, really cool. Like I said, these are about 5 inches or so. Not super tall, but also not super short. Almost like the perfect scale for a Turtles line. I love the old school carding. Very, very cool. The back's an interesting choice to me. I would have loved to have seen a roster back here. We got Shredder. Of course, we've got the 4 Turtles here. I believe that is Shredder's daughter right there. I could be wrong on that. That's at least that's my interpretation that that's Shredder's daughter. The artwork looks amazing. Of course, it doesn't say who does the artwork, unfortunately. But, well, maybe it does right here. Art by Matthias Santaluca. Sorry if I butchered that. Incredible artwork, but I think with McFarlane they show a lot of artwork. But to me, I'm like, I want to give me the boxes. I could still have all this, but Leonardo, Shredder, Donatello, Footjolt. Let me know who's in Wave 1. I think stuff like that is important. I think that does, generate some interest for the line. But again, that's just me. I just unboxed the AEW Colton gun figure, and of course that aired a couple days ago. But the back, the whole roster. This is everyone in the line. I think stuff like that is important. So, what do you guys think? It's not for everybody, I guess. And with this being more of a collectible, it is in the collector section, as it were. I think all the McFarlane stuff's in the collector section these days, where the TVs are, right? Maybe they don't feel like they need that because then the collectors know, or they're looking it up, and things of that nature. But I still think it's important, and it does add a ooh, okay, because I still feel like you can catch people when they're not expecting it. And I could see someone not being aware that this is out there, picking it up and be like, wow, that's a cool looking Shredder. I wonder who else they make. Bam, there it is right on the back. And now okay, I'm spending $100. Here we go. Of course, these do retail for about $24.99. Maybe a little pricey for what they are, but they do look really good. Like I said, I think that's pretty average today, in this day and age, for the action figure world. But like I said, very, very cool looking figures. We're going to dive into it. Like I said, very heavy package. In fact, I've heard a couple of people say that, and I think a lot of that is because the comic book is in there. Like I said, we could have easily done a mini comic or something like that, but a full size comic book, I think that's a fun thing, and that might have drove the cost up a little bit. But I've always been a sucker for when a toy line includes a comic book. Kind of take a peek at that real quick. This, like I said, this is a thick comic book. Very, very cool artwork there. I see that this is an exclusive Page Punchers edition. I don't know, but I assume it's a reprint. I don't think it's a brand new comic book. I would think that would be crazy, but I think it's a reprint, as it were. But still really, really cool. Like the IDW comic book art is just absolutely phenomenal. Like, who is this guy? I don't know, but I want an action figure of him. So I hope we can make that happen. I want the classic Turtle characters, but I also want I want some new ones. And like I said, I've read the first 12 volumes of the IDW comic. It's been a few years. I'm not going to lie about that. It has been a few years. But back in 2012, I got really into comic books. And I do that from time to time where I become a big comic nerd. And I'm like, you know what? I want to read a whole bunch of comics. And that was one I picked up because I'm like, I like the Turtles. why not? And I was very, very into it. It was a really fun comic to read. I'm dropping things everywhere. None of it fell off yet. It all landed on the table. What are the chances? Soft goods cape on this with tape on it. Oh, I don't like that. But it's better than a twist tie, I guess. Being stabbed in there. Can I rip these off? Oh my gosh. The twist ties are the worst things ever. But I get it. I do get it. But man, it does get in the way. I put that comic book off to the side. Let's take a look at Shredder here. Very, very cool figure. Much like Leonardo, just really, really, man, this really hits when you hold it in your hand. You're like, wow, this is a cool figure. Feels like a modern articulated figure, but in kind of that retro scale. If that makes sense, that may not, but feels a little bit like the Superpowers, a little taller than that, but modern articulation. Very, very fun. Of course, we got the cape, which I think would probably be removable because the head is removable. So I think you could take this head off and put the other head on, and have his kind of his human look or his non-turtle look. I know the Leonardo swords are a little flimsy. The things on his hands right here, these spikes, definitely not. These swords, actually a little bit better. Still a little flimsy. Could be a little bit better, but not horrible. We got multiple hands here, so we got a couple of. So on him, he's got a closed fist and he's got an open hand. Then we got a sword holding hand and another open hand. Another fist. And another sword holding hand. We got a couple of feet here. Again, I guess if you want to put him up on his toes, you can do that. I just launched that across the room. Oops. I'm not going to use that anyway. It's all right. But yeah, basically, you could kind of have him like he's ready to attack. And then, of course, there's Orokusaki, his normal human head. Got a nice scar on the eyebrow there. Very, very cool. Let's pop this head off. Let's see how that looks. So, yes, the cape definitely comes right off right there. And we can do, maybe. Sorry about that. Launched his head completely across the room. What are you going to do? But this is kind of, humanized version of Orokusaki or Shredder. No costume, maybe what he's doing in his lair. That always bothered me about the old cartoon from back in the 80s, is that he was always wearing the mask, like that metal mask. That can be comfortable. I mean, I get it. He's supposed to look menacing and stuff, but like this is, to me, what he's going to walk around. Probably this stuff would not be on either, let's be honest, but this is a little bit more, maybe casual Shredder. I don't know, something like that. But, definitely not how you're going to display your Shredder. My gosh, his head is brutal to take off. So let's see if we can get this cape back on. So it kind of wraps around, I think. This could be a disaster. I may have made the worst mistake in the history of my whole life. Not really. But, still. Alright, here we go. Loop it, swoop it, and pull. There we go. Doesn't have to look perfect because he's villainous, as we know. Very cool. No place to hold the swords. That's kind of disappointing. I ain't gonna lie, because I feel like he needs a place to put his swords, and so we're gonna need the sword hands. I feel like, because that only makes sense. He's got to hold them, right? So we're dropping stuff again. My goodness. My goodness. All right, here we go. Very cool. The hands do come off and on pretty easily, so that's nice. Those fingers don't hardly want to open, though. My goodness. All right. We got one sword. All right, we are making progress. Other sword hand right here. Hands go on very easily, actually. Like it's tight. It's not loose, but it's kind of a smooth, like pop in place. So not a bad deal. The sword, however, might be a different story. My goodness. Okay, here we go. The old hand switcheroo there. My goodness gracious. My goodness gracious. I slung his hand and his sword across the room. I'm like, okay, this is not going well for me. I need to pause again and fix it back up. But it's fixed now. It looks good. The swords do hold in the hands pretty well. And their hands are kind of like a ball joint, almost like a head would be a little bit. And I just launched that thing across the room. So, my goodness. And I've got my tripod for my camera. Well, I got my light right up here, this thing. And so it's like right next to me. And so like I kind of get in my chair. There's really nowhere I can move too well. First world problems, I know, but I'm like, oh my gosh, this could not go any worse. Could not go any worse, but could not be a better figure. This figure is absolutely phenomenal. I love this line. Even more so now. Like the Leonardo was great, but again, sometimes when you get a Shredder figure, it can be different because the scale is going to be a smidge different because obviously Leo is a turtle, Shredder is human, so like, you know what I mean? Like, the turtles need to be a little stockier, the humans need to be a little thinner, but they also got to mesh well, they got to look believable. And again, the turtles have big feet, but they stand up great, and that's nice with the big feet, as we've seen with some figures having small feet, they don't want to stand up great. Shredder stands up perfectly. I mean, like, he could not stand better. The quality of these is absolutely top-notch. And that's what makes me so excited about it. Like I said, I know these are not classic colors that we're used to from the old cartoon, but it's also not supposed to be. It's supposed to be based on the IDW comic, which, like I said, I cannot sing enough praises for that comic book. It's absolutely phenomenal. So for me, this is a home run for sure. Absolutely love it. I have Donatello and I have the Foot Soldier right over here. Can't wait to unbox those very, very soon. But this Shredder is an amazing figure. I can't wait for Wave 2. And hopefully we get an announcement on Wave 3. You know, I mean, I know with Todd kind of seemingly losing the DC license coming up relatively soon, I would think. That I would have to say that would be sooner rather than later, but I guess time will tell. But let me know in the comments down below if you're picking up this line, if you've seen it, what your thoughts are on it. I know a lot of people aren't sold on it yet, but let me tell you right now, I think it's great. I love the feeling of this figure. The articulation's great. The scale is perfect. It reminds me of holding like a Toy Biz X-Men figure in my hands, but with good articulation, if that makes any sense at all. But like I said, could this be better? I'm sure in some cases it could be, like maybe the pin joints and things like that, but for what I'm looking for in an action figure, this thing is absolutely top-notch. I love the soft goods cape. I love the removable heads. I love the Shredder mask. I mean, it all just looks so fun. So hopefully we see more of them in the next coming months. Because I know it's going to be an interesting year or so for Todd and all the people over there at McFarlane Toys. But very, very cool figure. Can't say enough good things. But of course, check out my other unboxing videos. I do 3 unboxing videos every single week. This week was, of course, a really fun week of unboxings because on Monday I dove into the world of Marvel Legends and the Spirit Spider from the new Gamerverse line of Spider-Man. Absolutely a fun home run of a figure. Very, very cool to get in the collection and to get back into Marvel Legends a little bit. And then, of course, on Wednesday, AEW's Colton Gunn from Jazzwares was a lot of fun. Then, of course, Shredder today. But a lot of cool figures this last couple of weeks. And then, of course, last week, another Gunn member, Austin Gunn from the AEW Jazzwares line. I like to do the tag team partners kind of every other week if I can. Millhouse from the Simpsons line was on Wednesday from Jack Pacific. Always a lot of fun to dive into some Simpsons figures. And then, of course, Skeletor from the Masterverse New Eternia line from Masters of the Universe. That was on Friday last week. Always a lot of fun as well. So check all those out if you can. Check out the TB Toycast podcast. New episodes dropping every Thursday with me and Travis. Plus, we dive into a different main event covering a classic toy line. Like here a couple of weeks ago, we covered TMNT Universal Monsters from back in the 90s. Always a lot of fun there. We've also dove into a ton of other toy lines. We also talk about the news and happenings in the toy world that particular week. So always a lot of fun. Also check out What's on the Pegs. It drops every Saturday, and it's kind of my look at all the different things I'm finding out there on the pegs in the toy world, and my toy hunts, as it were. So always a lot of fun to check that out as well. But that's it. That's all I got. Thank you all very much for checking out the TB Toycast YouTube channel. That is Shredder from the McFarlane Ninja Turtle Page Punchers line, and we will see you in the toy aisle.
Yeah. One more time. It ain't over till I say it's over. So lock the cage up, cause this is a takeover. The wait's over. If this the final time we meet, then you'll be on your back on my feet. Then I'll tip the cage over as a hangover. I'm super fly so I can splash off the top. And I can shut down the shot.